Hi guys, and happy Halloween. Well, one of the many days of Halloween, because at this point it is October 15th when I'm filming and posting this, because I know I'm putting this up ASAP. But like I said, happy Halloween. I decided it would be very, very fun to channel the vampire in the sense of, I guess, I don't know what kind of vampire this is. I guess more of a seductress, more modern vampire would probably be the best way to go. But it would be a great way to do something very simple for a Halloween party, or just for the month of October or fall or winter. It's just a very intense look. It would be very easy to build a Halloween costume off this, you know. You get just a nice dress and a set of fangs. Are you serious? Please don't leave a message. Awesome. Okay, like I was saying, so it would be a great way to build a costume around it. Just get a nice dress, a set of fangs, and you would be very good as a modern vampiress. So obviously I have a few more Halloween tutorials I'd like to do, and I'm very excited to do. But if you want to see how to get this look here, keep watching, and I will talk to you guys in a few minutes. Bye-bye. Okay, so we're going to start out with a new eye primer I have been using, which is the City Proof 24-Hour Eye Primer from NYC, or NYC Color. I don't know. But it's good. It's just like, I cannot talk. It's just a basic primer, you know, you blend it in. Sorry, I was like, did I just get primer on my contact lens? Oh my god. But yeah, so it's just a skin flesh toned. I don't know if they have any other ones because I write for a group on campus and we got a swag bag and this was in it. So I'm not sure if this comes in like other skin tones, because obviously this would be like matching for my skin tone. But it says universal. But regardless, it keeps everything in place. And I have already primed my skin, because I just don't feel like showing that again. But it's the usual Fix and Perfect from Rimmel that I got on clearance at Ulta. It's really good. So yeah. So as you can see, I have the tape on because I want a really sharp point to this makeup. And also hoping it'll prevent some kind of fallout, because let's be real, it's dark colors for a vampire. I'm gonna have fallout, hence why no foundation is on yet. Okay, so I am going to start with Bella Black from Milani, and it's just a matte black shadow, for anybody wondering. So I am going to apply that to the inner part of my eye. I'm only using 2 colors. I was going to use 3, but it's just like there's going to be so much color already with the black. And see, it's a very rich black. Let me get a little more there. I'd like to try to match how far I get eyeshadow out on each side, just so everything looks nice and even in the long run. Okay, so black is on. Simple enough. It's very dark. Obviously, it's black. It's very nice. It's a very rich black. That's the thing. That's what I love about Milani, is their colors are really good. And this is just, if you're looking for a very nice black matte eyeshadow that you can use as a liner or as an accent or whatever you're using it for, this is the shadow to get. And Milani is obviously drugstore, so it's fairly inexpensive. Okay, so next I will be using L'Oreal Infallible in Smoldering Plum. And it's a purplish red, which is why I'm only using 2 colors, because I was going to use this and then a more like blood red, but then I was kind of like, it's gonna be just too much and everything's gonna get muddied to the point where it's like, why use all these colors? So I'm just gonna apply that to the edge, and obviously if you go over the tape, that's fine, because you're gonna remove the tape. So as you can see, obviously the size is a little wild because I went over, but you get the idea. So now I will blend these 2 out. And just kind of blend it into each other. And that way any inconsistencies and patches anyway are cleaned up. Okay. So now is the moment of truth, so we will remove the tape. And it's just sharp point. The bad thing is having hooded lids like myself, I can't do as big of a flare out with dark colors because otherwise it just looks like I got punched in the face. And that's not a good look. So, now we will move on to foundation. Obviously, as a vampire, you need to be white as a ghost, which I already am. So I'm going to use the Revlon Color Stay in the shade, oh god, Pale AF. But what is this shade? What? There it is, 110 Ivory. I apologize. Pale AF is the shade. But yeah, so if you just are of a darker complexion and you want the more pale vamp look, you know, just go down to the lowest shade that you can. Or if you're already ghostly like myself and you really want to pale out, if you really want that like kind of ghastly pale look, my recommendation is, I don't personally have it, but my friend does. I personally recommend the MAC, what is it, Face and Body or Studio Fix, one of those. They legitimately have a white, so you could either put just white foundation on your skin, or you could mix it with the palest foundation possible and really just, you know, if you still kind of want that skin tone color, but a very porcelain ghastly. But there's that. There's also obviously various like stage makeups and such for that I remember from my theater days that I don't have anymore, but I remember it. Okay, so now we're going to use the Real Techniques Beauty Blender, that is disgusting, and blend this all out. Like I've mentioned in other videos, I really do love beauty blenders. I think they're such a like good way to get nice and even coverage all over your skin if you want it looking a little more natural, because it shears it out as you go because it's wet. So it just kind of blends it out and you have the ability, I think, to layer more efficiently in, you know, the extent of naturalness. Because if you want a full coverage look without kind of, I guess, that mask look, if that's, you know, not your scene, this is a great way to do it. Although I do have to admit, because I've been using the Fit Me Matte and Poreless, I'm noticing that, because I haven't used this foundation in a while, that this one doesn't blend as well with the Beauty Blender. I feel like it just isn't as good, I guess. Wow. Yeah, that's really not that great anymore. That's sad. Because I loved Revlon Color Stay, but now I'm kind of like, but do I? This could definitely use a coat, a new coat in other places. So let's give it a little more. And I'll just do it like here and here on my cheeks because I definitely still have some red marks of either zits that haven't quite formed yet, to my horror, because I have things to do this weekend, or, you know, it's just scarring type thing. Cleaning my fingers off, sorry. And then putting the second coat on. That's right, I forget the Revlon Color Stay just does need a second coat with the Beauty Blender. The Fit Me Matte and Poreless really only needs one, with maybe just a little bit of touch-ups if your skin's acting real funky. Okay, so that is done. Let me wipe all that foundation off with the wipe as I'm doing this. Okay, so obviously next is concealer. And as usual, it is, of course, my usual concealer, which is the Maybelline Fit Me in 115 Fair. This, obviously, I think they just gave up on the 110 because this is the paler of the two. But I don't see 110 sold anymore because obviously 110 is usually porcelain. But I've noticed that isn't being sold anymore. Now we're going to take this Real Techniques concealer brush that I've had forever. I got it in a set. I know you can still get them at Walgreens. And I just dab it in. Note how I am not just like smearing it around. Like I'm just kind of pushing it into the skin. One, because it ruins coverage levels if you're just kind of willy-nilly like pushing it around. But I've just found it also stays better if I just kind of pat it down. But that's not just even under my eyes, because I will do the same thing where I have a couple still trouble spots on my face. But yep. But I always jokingly recommend a vampire costume, like, for myself or other pale people, because I'm like, just be yourself, is basically my joke about it. Okay, so now to set everything, I still definitely want to keep that, I just want to keep putting on that intensity of color, of fairness. So I'm going to use the Fit Me powder in 110, and I've had this forever, as you can see, because I finally have hit pan in some part. And I'm just going to use the sponge that comes with it and press it in to really make it last. And also, because it gives it a little more natural finish, also it's going to give you a matte finish as well, which vampires aren't alive, so they're not going to necessarily have this intense sheen, I guess, is what I'm looking for. Like, they're not gonna have dewy skin. They're just, scientifically at least, they wouldn't. But science has failed me before in the vampire world. Looking at you, Stephanie Mayer. I'm so bitter. I'm so bitter about Twilight to this day, and I apologize because it's always there. And obviously, if you're one of those people that don't get oily all over your face like myself, you can just do all this powdering in your T-zone, and that's all. But I'll need it everywhere. Alrighty, so that is done. So what we will do now is, if I can find it, there it is. I'm going to set my brows with the, this always wears away, the Milani Clear Brow Gel. Like I said, my eyebrows are just very full, and I honestly don't know what to do with them without them just looking weirdly colored in because they're so full. They're not sparse. So I just like to just basically set them, excuse me, set them in place. They stay better. Because usually, you know, my brows get messed up anyway in the process of putting on powder and foundation. It's going to happen. Yep. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to go back in towards my eyes with the Smoldering Plum from L'Oreal, and I'm going to smoke it. I'm going to try to bring it down a little bit underneath my, not in my waterline, but definitely underneath. And just kind of connect it, and then I will obviously go in and blend that out. Okay, so now we will get, where is my little like itty bitty dome? Here it is. I love the little elf dome brush for this because I can just kind of gently move it out. Obviously, I could have done this before I put on foundation, but I always worry about it just my work being erased. So there, you do have to be a little more aware of the possibilities of fallout. So see, and that gives it more intensity again around the eyeballs. The eyeballs. I feel like, I'm wondering if I'm just gonna over-record over this, because I just feel like I'm rambling and I can speed it up and stuff. I might be doing that. Okay, but anyway, so moving on to eyelashes. As usual, I'm doubling up with the Lash Accelerator from Rimmel. And this is one of my favorites, I've mentioned before. It's one of my favorites because for the bottom coat, because it really gives you the length that you want, but it's very sharp. And I always like to soften it, so I always go in with the, unless I'm looking for a really intensely hard look, but my eyes are already so intense I don't need it. I always go with the L'Oreal Miss Manga eyes, because then it gives you kind of the fullness and the softness that you look for. So it just looks like you have these really big, beautiful lashes. Alright, so final step is lipstick. And we will be going with a Milani lipstick, which is Black Cherry. And it's actually a very similar shade to Smoldering Plum, if I hold them up side by side. So we'll tie in the look doing that. Now, I get a little wild, especially with dark colors, so I usually do have to go in and just touch up egregiously. Sometimes I get a little crazy, and that's okay. It is okay to, like, get a little crazy as long as you can touch it up. Obviously, like, if you're in a car or a bathroom that you don't, or you're in some place you can't have a makeup wipe or something to help you touch up. And what I'm gonna do is now I'm gonna take a lip brush, if I can find it, or an acceptable, well, here it is. I'll take a very small lip brush and just kind of fill in and touch up. And clean up the edges as well, because the edges are always very messy. And there we go. Ta-da. And there you are, a beautiful and pale vampirist. So that is all. Obviously, if you enjoyed this tutorial or just this look, even if you didn't enjoy watching me talk, thumbs up, comment, what are you being for Halloween? Tell me what you're being for Halloween. I am probably going to do a makeup look for my Halloween, so I'm not going to tell you guys right now. But tell me what you want to be for Halloween, or what you're going to be for Halloween. What are you doing? Tell me some Halloween stuff. And obviously, if you want to see more of me, hit the lovely subscribe button down below. And I will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.